All right, hi Gary. Hi everyone. I am preparing myself for Inktober. Inktober starts tomorrow, and I'm going to try really hard to put out one video a day for the entire month of October. Might not get that far. I may miss a day or two, but I'm going to try my best. I went and bought a piece of really big paper. Yes, I went to Hobby Lobby. Yes, I spent $3. Actually, I spent less than that. I used my 40% off coupon, so I spent $1 or something. $1.80 something with tax. But I got this really big piece of Strathmore Mixed Media 400 paper. Really nice, super thick. Can you see how thick that is? Super thick paper. It was 18 inches by 18 inches by 24 inches. I've had to move my whole camera, so if I'm way off of camera view, I'm sorry. But it's huge. And so what I did was I wanted a square, so I made it an 18 by 18 square. So I had these leftover, a couple of leftover pieces. So I started playing with how they work with my various different media, and they work beautiful with the pen. They shade nicely. I tried using the alcohol markers. They're not so good with the alcohol markers. They're beautiful with my these are my watercolor markers that I have, these STA Aqua Naturel brush markers. So like I could color in something and then use the water brush to just like smear that color. Look how beautifully that worked. Works lovely. Let's try a different color. I was thinking, because I'm not sure if I'm going to color or not color the pieces when I'm working on this particular project, but if I do decide to color, I want to be able to just, you know, do maybe sometimes just put in a little bit of color like that against a line and then come in and do a wash like this. And look at how nicely these pens blend. Aren't those nice? I have to remember I have to be further away from my body to be where you are right now, but isn't that nice? And then I tried it with also with my Inktense pencils, so I can do the same thing. I can come in here with some Inktense color pencil, lay down a little color where I want it, and then come in with the water brush and activate that color, and look at how just absolutely gorgeous that is. So now I know that this paper works really well for wet media. It doesn't leak through. The alcohol markers did, but everything else is not going through, and it's not buckling the paper because it's so darn thick. So, and this here has dried. That was an Inktense and some of that marker. So I was just playing with it to make sure that this was the type of paper I wanted to use before I started with my Inktober. The other thing I'm doing preparing for Inktober is I'm trying to get everything out of the way so I can move this piece of paper in here and zoom out so you guys can see. There's my giant piece of paper. Let me zoom way out. Look how big that is. This is a standard piece of printer paper. So it's more than two that way. And so it would be like the square inches of 3 standard pieces of paper plus some. So I'm going to have plenty, almost the size of 4. Not quite, but almost the size of 4 pieces of paper. And then the other thing I did is I went through and I printed out all of the patterns listed as the Inktober patterns. And I just printed 4 on a page so that I could see the step outs, but they weren't so big that I couldn't manage them. And I left this one page intact so you could see. I just cut them apart like so. And now what I'm going to do, and I might not do this on camera, you guys might just get just an abbreviated version here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to think about how are these patterns, what kinds of things are they? I think I'm going to move this so I don't get it dirty. Let me set it over here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go through these patterns and kind of give myself an idea of what I want to do. So this is sort of a background, right? Paradox is also like a filler. So let me do fillers together. That one's kind of a filler. This one kind of stands on its own, but can be kind of ribbony. This one kind of stands on its own. It's like a flowery shape. This one is a grid. There's a flowery shape. This one's a ribbon. This one sort of stands on its own. That's a background. Oops, there's a piece of paper that's blank. You guys can't see what I'm doing. Urchin is sort of, it can be either a fill-in or a standalone, but I'm going to put it in the standalone. This is a ribbon. This one's a ribbon. Folded is a CPT technique. So is Paradox, as a matter of fact. Those are actually CPT techniques for filling in inside other shapes. O-hooks is a ribbon. This one, Volute Curl, is a grid. This is a standalone. I'm Watching You is a grid. X's and O's is sort of a ribbon. Flip is a CPT technique. Zet Heart is a ribbon. Destiny is a grid. This one's a ribbon. Spidey, that's the one for the 31st. That's a character. That's a cute thing. That's a sort of its own. Budhead is kind of standalone. Wrapping is a CPT technique. Wrangle Life sort of is a standalone. The Mag's Vine is a ribbon. Tourmaline is sort of a filler, but it's also kind of a standalone. It's kind of a combination of both. I'm going to put it in this one. This is a technique. Striping is a CPT technique. And Grimmies is, looks like it's mostly made as a ribbon. So we kind of have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 fillers or grids. I'm making myself a note. 7 fillers or grids. I have 1 character, the little Spidey guy. 1 character. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 standalones. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ribbons. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 techniques. because the techniques can be added to any ones of these, so they can be combined. So I need on my page, when I'm creating my composition, I need at least 9 ribbon areas, and I need at least 9 standalone spots, and then 7 places where there can be a grid or a background of some kind. And then places where I can use my techniques as, you know, around or under or through different things. So I'm going to set these over to the side. I'm not going to use them in the order that they came down for the Inktober. I'm not going to go, you know, the first one, second one, third one. I might do some that way, but I'm not planning on it. So what my plan is here, it's really big, is to just give myself, let me zoom way out because that's going to look funny to you. Okay, I'm going to give myself just like a composition. I am going to give myself a nice border. I will just use, where'd my, oh Lord, I've already lost bits and pieces. I knew that was going to happen because there's so much going on. I've lost my ruler. There it is. I'm going to just use my ruler and I'm going to give myself a border all the way around so that I don't get too close to the edge. I'm going to do it all in pencil. This is just going to all be in pencil today, and this is all I'm going to do today. I'm going to use my little mechanical pencil I got from Jazz's Jazzy Art Box. It is a Zebra pencil M301. And I'm just going to very lightly give myself a border all the way around this paper, just so I don't get too close to the edge. I can always break the border, but I like to have a border just to give myself a little place to say, oh wait a minute, you're getting too close to the edge, as I personally don't like to draw right up to the edge of my page. But that's my personal preference. Other people like their artwork going right up to the edge, and that's okay too. And sometimes I like a border that's wiggly woggly, and sometimes I like it straight, but I'm going to start with straight as a compositional tool, and I can always change it later once I start laying pen down. So this is going to be completely different than any other thing I've ever done on my channel. And it may be a complete and total failure in terms of what you guys want to see, because I don't think as I'm doing each pattern that I'm going to like talk about the different step outs, but I may pull out the page and have it where you guys can see it for the reference as I'm working. So you'll know what I'm working on and what I'm not working on. And then I may, of course, use other things besides, other patterns besides what's sitting here. I may do my favorites, you know, some Muka, some you know, Rixty, some other patterns. I don't know. Alright, so what I want to do is then I want to divide my page up into, I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of this, but I'm going to, you can kind of tell with my hand movements, I'm going to divide my page up into some areas. And I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna maybe do this. So I'm gonna start with, there's one ribbon area here, a ribbony type area there. Okay, that's one. And a ribbony kind of area here. That's 2. And there's a spot for a standalone, a spot for a standalone. I'm going to put in my ribbons here. There's one there. We'll go this way. They may be 2 different ribbons. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. How many do I need? I need 9. Five. I'm going to call that 5 and 6. Seven and 8. I'm going to call that 7 and 8. 7 and 8. And maybe a small place right here, a 9. Okay. So now I've got myself, I don't know if you can even see that. It's so dark. You guys are just so far away, and I'm sorry, but it's now dark outside, and I don't want to draw any darker, but you can kind of get an idea of how I'm doing this. And you'll see it closer up and in bits and pieces as I'm working. So I'm calling that 9 areas for ribbon. And then I need 9 standalone areas. So I'm going to need 1 there and 1 there and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and maybe 1 here, 9. Okay, I'm gonna call those standalone areas. That looks good. I'm gonna need a character, which will probably dangle down somewhere, depending on how I'm going to turn the page. I'm going to think my character may end up being outside the frame. We're going to put the character maybe there. And then I have 7 areas for fillers. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got plenty of filler space. So I've kind of created myself a template or a guide as to approximately how I want to lay out this this page. So what I'm going to do now is on a regular piece of paper, which of course I don't have with me. Pardon me, regular piece of paper. I'll just use this. No, I've used this. Yeah, that's fine. Make myself a square, or a square-ish shape. Let's see. How do I make a square? How do I make a square? I should just measure what I'm doing, but that would be too simple. You know, I don't do anything in the simple way. I've got to do it the more complex way. Tear myself a little square. So I've torn myself a little square, and I'm going to replicate this general idea a little bit darker. Let me get a darker pencil. Where's my B? 6B, a nice dark pencil. So I'm going to, in case I lose my first idea here, in case I lose my place, I've got this one kind of going up in like this, kind of like that, and then I've got one coming this way, and then zoom in so you guys can see, because you can't see my page anyways. And then I have another one here, and then I have something coming here like that, and then I have something coming from about here, coming through and down like so. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this swoop coming this way. I've got a swoop coming here like this that is also a ribbon, something like that. And then I've got my little Spidey character hanging out outside the frame, and then I've got a thing here, and I've got one here and here, something that's going to need a focal, and I've got one in here, and I've got one somewhere in here, and somewhere in here, and somewhere down in here, and one in there, and I have one kind of in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So now I've got a general idea of how I want to lay out my big page. It's going to have focal places in these places. I now can decide whether these focal things are going to be on top or behind these ribbon pieces, and decide where I'm going to start. If I'm going to start in the middle, work my way outward. If I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go with it, but I have now at least a general plan of kind of the areas, the direction I want to go. Since this is such a big piece of paper, I may end up wanting to use my bigger pens, because this is what a size 2 will do. This is a 0.02, but I may end up wanting to use the other ones. These are the graphics fine liners, the Marabous that came in my Jazz's art box. This is 0.04. That might be the more of the size that I want to use as my standard size. I might use the 0.2 as the finer. And then this is the 8. Yeah. And that's the 8. So you can see the difference in line weight. And I think usually on a small page I will use the 0.2 because it's a small page and you're trying to fit a lot of stuff into a small page. But since I'm trying to expand, I think I'm going to use the 0.4 as my main line weight. And then I'm going to use the 0.2 as my thin and the 0.8 as my thick. And the 0.2 as my thin. And now I've created myself a plan. And so when I start drawing in the morning, tomorrow, the next day, whenever it is I have a chance to draw, I have a plan moving forward and I know kind of what I want to do. I may want to make this border more of a swoopy thing, but I am not 100% sure yet. I think I am going to want to do that. I don't think I want it so harsh of a line, but maybe not. Maybe I'll leave it like that and just smudge it and not even really have a border. Haven't decided yet. I usually do that last. But now I have a plan as to what I'm going to do and get ready for Inktober. If I decide I'm going to color it, then I at least know how the materials are going to work on the page, on the paper. And you see how this works so totally different than the other papers I've been using. The other papers I've been using have not necessarily been water media friendly. So, yeah. So that's what I've got to do. I'm going to just spend some time mulling over what I want in front, what I want behind, and see if I can't get all 31 either techniques or patterns incorporated here into this drawing. That will be fun. This is going to be a challenge that I've never tackled before. The biggest piece I will have ever done. And I'm bringing you guys on the journey. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I know this isn't going to be normal, but I think it'll be fun. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great rest of your evening. I'm doing this in the dark, in the evening, and you can probably tell it is not near as bright in here as it usually is. I won't be drawing in the dark, but I could do this layout business in the dark, which would be fine. And yeah, that's my plan. And I will see you guys for Inktober starting tomorrow. Bye-bye.